Welcome to this week's Travel Talk show. This week we're going to the gateway to Africa in a country of dizzying diversity. Here you're going to find epic mountain ranges, ancient cities, sweeping deserts, and warm hospitality. Morocco is always a popular destination for the Women's Travel Club, and I look forward to introducing you to this amazing country. A little bit about us. We're the Women's Travel Club, and we do small group tours for women. We do keep our groups very small so that you will quickly feel like you're just traveling with a group of friends. Most women join our groups as solo travelers. And if you are coming as a solo traveler but would like to take advantage of the double occupancy rate, we will match you with a roommate. I am Marianne Southall, and I am the marketing director. So you often see me doing a lot of these travel talk presentations and sending out emails and such. I am joined by Irene Murray, and she is from our operations department. And she is who is usually our first line of defense, we like to say. She is who answers the phone and the chat most days when she's working. So if you've contacted or called in, you've probably talked to Irene. We might have, she's not here right now, but we might be joined after by Debbie Grew from the tour department, and she is who is in charge of putting together all these great trips and making sure they have all the inclusions that you love. A little bit of housekeeping. So we do have a chat that's on. You will find a menu bar somewhere on your screen. It might be at the bottom of your screen, or it might be at the side. You can pick it up and drag it around. So if you click on it and drag it, it will move if it's in the way of wherever it is right now. In that, there's a few different buttons. One is a chat. And so if you want to chat and say hi, you can chat with just us. So if there's something you want to mention to just us, you can do that. Or if you want to say hi to everybody that's here watching, you can do that. So there's little buttons on it. One is presenters and the other is presenters and attendees. So you can pick and choose and do both. And that's a great place just for kind of casual chat or to say hi, or if you think of something funny to say, you can say it in there. The other button is for the questions and answers. So it says Q&A. We will answer questions at the end of the presentation. It's a little bit of performance, but we'll say presentation. Sure. So we'll answer questions at the end, just to keep the flow going. If you think of a question along the way and you want to type it in, go ahead, and at the end we'll read off the questions and answer them. The other option at the end is you can raise your hand. So there's a button if you want to raise your hand, and when we see your hand is raised at the end when we're doing questions, we will open up your microphone. You can actually come on and ask the question. So that's out of the way. Let's head to Morocco. Exotic is the first word that's going to come to mind when you want to describe Morocco. Ancient cities exude a mysterious ambiance, leaving you with a strong impression. It also adds into the mix excellent beach resorts, snow-capped mountains, cedar forest, orange groves, and the colorful Sahara Desert. It is a country influenced by Roman, Arab, Berber, and French civilizations.
Marianne, I know you don't like to be interrupted. Somebody has just messaged that they're having a problem with their audio. Could you direct them as to what they should be doing?
You can hear me. Can everybody else hear me okay?
Yeah, it's just one.
Yeah, just one. Okay. Yeah. That was first thing to make sure everybody can hear me. It might be just your speaker volume. So it might be on your computer itself. You just need to turn your speaker volume up. And I don't know if you're on a computer or a laptop or a PC or iPad. So there's different ways to do that depending on your device, but find where your little speaker symbol is and turn that up would be my first suggestion, and see how that works.
Thank you. I'll let you get back.
Okay. At the crossroads of Europe and Africa, surrounded by the Mediterranean waters and opening onto the vastness of the Atlantic Ocean, Morocco is a wonderland for nature lovers. Morocco is located in the extreme northwest corner of Africa, the African continent, bordered by Mauritania and Algeria to the south and the east. And the coastline of Morocco is on the Mediterranean Sea as well as the Atlantic Ocean. The western coast faces the Atlantic and it's characterized by sandy beaches. To the southeast of Morocco is the Sahara Desert, the hottest desert in the world and the third largest after Antarctica and the Arctic. Let's have a closer look at some of the areas around Morocco. Casablanca is the perfect place to start. It's the country's main port and economic hub. Casablanca is the most liberal of Morocco's cities, famed as the setting of the classic 1942 film of the same name. Casablanca is Morocco's largest city. It is known for its unique architecture, a blend of traditional Moroccan designs with European styles of the early 20th century. What started as a small Berber fishing village, Casablanca became a strategic port for the likes of the Phoenicians and the Romans. The Portuguese destroyed and then rebuilt the city, inhabiting it until an earthquake devastated the area in 1755. During the era of the French colonization at the beginning of the 20th century, Casablanca witnessed rapid expansion and developed into one of Africa's largest cities. Casablanca is known for its unique architecture, a byproduct of being a French protectorate. Immerse is a blend of traditional Moroccan designs with European styles of the early 20th century. A modern architectural attraction in Casablanca is the Hassantu Mosque, designed by French architect Michel Pinceau, with room for over 25,000 people inside and a further 80,000 in the courtyard. The mosque is one of the largest in the world. Built by over 6,000 Moroccan craftsmen and artisans using local materials, the mosque was completed in 1993. Modern Casablanca is a place where the West meets and coexists with the Arabic traditions. Now let's head a bit outside of Casablanca to Rabat. Located on the Atlantic Ocean at the mouth of the Bouresh River is Rabat, Morocco's capital and the third largest city. The city was formed in 1146 by the Almohad dynasty, a Moroccan Berber Muslim dynasty established in 1120. In the 17th century, Rabat and its neighbor Sail were united by Barbary pirates, forming the Republic of the Bouresh. The two ports served as basis for attacking ships, causing much trouble for the European and Muslim authorities who tried to rein the pirates in. The Republic, however, did not collapse until 1818 when Morocco became a French protectorate. The capital was moved from Fez to Rabat, where it remains. The oldest mosque in the city was built in 1150, while Rabat's most visible landmark, the Hassan Tower, the minaret of an unfinished mosque, dates back to 1195. These ancient landmarks coexist alongside the new town considered by many to be Africa's most ambitious and complete urban project of the 20th century. Rabat is also a modern eco-responsible capital with its green spaces. Beautiful parks await you, such as the Botanical Tusk Garden or the exotic gardens of Bouknadel, which is a few kilometers from the city. Rabat also boasts an outstanding coastline on the Atlantic Ocean shores. It is kilometers of well-equipped beaches that lead to the neighboring city of Casablanca. The Udayas Casbah is one of the country's most unique sites, originally built in the 12th century and renovated many times since throughout the centuries. It has been home to Arab tribes, Andalusian immigrants, and some of Morocco's most powerful sultans. Walk up the steps leading to the imposing gate of Bab Udaya and discover the winding streets of the Casbah that will take you to Rabat's oldest mosque, beautiful gardens, and exquisite museum. In keeping with its glorious past, the Odayas Casbah is today one of Rabat's proudest features. Perfectly combining historical sites with modern establishments, the Casbah is at the same time home to some of Rabat's oldest buildings and a place where you will find the capital's most hip cafes and shops. On our way to Fez, we'll stop in Meknes, known for its imperial past and home to a couple of important sites. Another of Morocco's 4 imperial capitals, Meknes is often considered a quieter version of Fez. It has a stunning old medina with souks and narrow lanes, as well as ruins dating back to the imperial past. In the north of Meknes stands the largest Roman archaeological site in Morocco, which is full of beauties, including a triumphal arch, capital, house of Bacchus. Everything bears witness to the splendor of the city and to its economic and political weight. This Berber and Roman city outside Meknes dates back to the 3rd century BC and is thought to be the site of the ancient capital of the Kingdom of Mauritania. People continued to live in the city until the 11th century when it was abandoned. Today, the ruins are only partially excavated, but many public buildings such as the Basilica, Temple, and Triumphal Arch offer insight into a Roman settlement far from the center of the empire. It's a great place for amateur historians to spend a day. The royal stables in Meknes offer another impressive sight. Moulay Ismail, born in 1645 and lived until 1727, was known as one of the more ruthless leaders of Morocco. Slaves created his magnificent visions for the architectural masterpieces that have become popular tourist attractions, and laborers were often treated inhumanely and suffered under Ismail's rule. But one of the most impressive memorials to his time has survived in Meknes, namely the royal stables. The royal stables in Meknes are an amazing sight, as this massive stable yard was constructed to comfortably house no less than 12,000 of the royal horses. Ismail had a great respect and admiration for these gracious animals, even more than he did for his human counterparts. His horses were waited on hand and foot, with a groom and a slave for each horse to ensure that all the needs were met. Stables kept in immaculate condition and his horses being taken care of. It is even said that after a horse had completed a journey to Mecca, slaves were forced to catch the urine in a bowl, as even the earth was too undeserving for the horse to urinate on. It is easy to say that Moulay Ismail was fanatical about his horses. Today, most of the stables are in ruin, and due to an earthquake during the 18th century, the roof of the stables no longer provide protection. Even though it's not in pristine condition that Ismail would have approved of, visitors will still be amazed at its sheer size and the effort that was put into the construction. A few horses are still kept here purely for tourists, so they are able to familiarize themselves with the breeds, such as Berbers, Arabs, and Berber Arab crosses that once filled the stable yard. Now, as we continue our tour, we visit Fez. One of Morocco's 4 imperial cities, Fez is considered the country's cultural and spiritual center. The city was established in 789 by Idris I, who was instrumental in the Islamization of Morocco. That is hard to say. The 9th century witnessed immigration from Andalusia and Tunisia, as well as Muslims from the Middle East and North Africa. A Jewish population also settled in their own part of the city called Mela. The 13th and 14th centuries saw Fez become well known throughout Europe as a trading center and as a place of great artistic merit. Early in the 20th century, Morocco became a French protectorate and was granted independence in 1956. The city of Fez is divided into 3 distinct parts. Fez al-Balai is Old Fez, a UNESCO World Heritage Site listed for being a continuously inhabited medieval city and the best preserved old city in the Arab world. Within Fez Ali is the legendary Medina, a maze of winding alleys and covered bazaars, shops, restaurants, mosques, and so much more. Fez El Jid, located south of the Medina, is a 13th century new town, while Villa Nouvelle is the city's modern center that is very much in the French style. Fez is an absolute open-air museum. The succession of civilizations has accumulated treasures. Its Medina being the oldest and largest in Morocco, all the craftsmen are gathered from tanners to weavers, dindiers, and potters. Its streets are decorated with architectural masterpieces, and its squares are meeting places where an ancestral art of living is expressed through confident yet delicate gestures. Stroll through the interlacing alleys of the imperial city, enter the Bab Bouchlad gate, and admire the sophistication of the Arab Andalusian art, the zeligas of blue and jade that adorn it, the scrolls that carve out its openings. In the mosque, you can see the minaret of the Quarry Mosque. The doors of knowledge will welcome you, those of the oldest university in the world. Take advantage of the calm pace of the city and enjoy every one of the most delicious gastronomy in the world. Not to be outdone, the festivals, world sacred music, culinary arts, or jazz in the riads. Throughout the year, they liven up the squares and the streets of the former imperial capital. Fez is a modern city where the past and the present meet, and where the arts and treasures of the ancestors still stand. While in Fez, we might want to stay in a traditional riad. The riads of Morocco are famous for providing an authentic visitor experience in this enchanting country. Simply put, a riad is a traditional Moroccan house. The term comes from the Arab word riad, meaning garden, but is applied to townhouses built around an inner courtyard or garden. True riads have lush plants and 4 planting beds and a central fountain, but many variations exist. Some even have a swimming pool or private hammam style spa for their guests. The windows of each room face into the courtyard in line with the Islamic idea of privacy and inward reflection. What's more, this clever design helps keep the air cool and comfortable, particularly during hot Moroccan summers. All riads provide traditional hotel accommodation, but what sets them apart from regular hotels is that your experience is steeped with culture and history of Morocco. Now we're going to visit a city that actually doesn't make it onto a lot of tours. Chefchaouen is a bit out of the way, but very worth a visit. Chefchaouen is Morocco's famous blue city. Built on the mountainside, Chefchaouen is a city with a special vibe. Its unique charm gives an impression of unreality. With its blue rinsed houses, the whole city seems to be bathed in azure. Boasting its unique geographical position, Chefchaouen is a paradise for walkers. The paths of the surrounding mountains often offer pleasant hiking activities. Why is the city blue? Well, as the story goes, this funky decor dates back to 1471, when the city of Chefchaouen was founded as a small fortress to fight the Portuguese invasion of northern Morocco. It was around that time that the city also became a large settlement for the Jewish people who fled here after the Spanish conquest. It is said that it was the Jewish teachings that connected the color blue with the sky and with God's power that inspired the locals to decorate the Medina in bright blue. One of my favorite things about Morocco is the diversity, that each day on a tour, you can be somewhere that is completely different from the day before. Today, we leave our blue city and we're going to head to the red sands of the Sahara. The Sahara Desert is the world's largest hot desert and the 3rd largest desert behind Antarctica and the Arctic. Located in North Africa, it covers large sections of the continent, covering 9,200,000 square kilometers, which is comparable to the area of China or the US. Most of the Sahara is comprised of rocky stone plateaus, but in Morocco, it becomes the quintessential desert of popular imagining, ditching the rocks for a rippling coat of towering dunes, which constantly change shape and color from brilliant orange to rosy pink. One of the best ways to experience the Sahara, and definitely one of the Women's Travel Club's most popular Morocco tour activities, is a desert safari. The town of Merzouga is the eastern portion of the country is the typical gateway to the desert. And travelers can ride a camel alongside the dunes of Chabi, visit a Berber village, or even spend a night under the stars in a traditional tent. The sunrises and sunsets in the desert are especially brilliant, as is the opportunity for stargazing, as the lack of light pollution gives you unimpeded views of the night sky. When we say camping, it's not quite what you would expect. You'll have comfortable accommodations, outstanding food, and the atmosphere while you look up at the most amazing night sky you've ever seen. Our next stop is also amazing and very unique to Morocco. First, we'll visit the Todra Gorge in Dade's Valley, then on to Ouarzazate, Morocco's own special home to film. The Dade's Gorge in the Valley of the Roses and the Todra Gorge provide some of the most spectacular scenery of South Morocco. These are fertile valleys where roses bloom in profusion in the oasis, and where a large part of Morocco's rose water production occurs. The Dade's Gorge runs from Ouarzazate and stretches 100 miles to the east to the Tinger Oasis and the Todra Gorge. It is scenically beautiful section of the Dade's River Valley, separating the Atlas Mountains from the anti-Atlas. The gorge is best known for mesmerizing scenery, and the Casbah set precariously amongst it, overlooking the river below. Gravity-defying rock stacks in all shades of red look as though they've crumbled in front of your eyes and are deeply cut by gullies created by the persistent action of the river and weather. Todra Gorge is a canyon in the eastern part of the High Atlas Mountains in Morocco. Near the town of Tinger, both the Todra and the neighboring Dade's rivers have carved out cliff-sided canyons on their final 40 kilometers through the mountains. The views are truly spectacular. Ouarzazate is located in the High Atlas Mountains and is best known for its massive 19th century Casbah, which affords exceptional views over the landscape. This might look familiar thanks to Hollywood favorites such as Lawrence of Arabia, Gladiator, Kundun, Babel, and most recently Game of Thrones. At Ben Houdou is a traditional mud brick city on the edge of the High Atlas Mountains. It is on the UNESCO World Heritage List and is featured in many films, mostly as a replacement for Jerusalem. As I mentioned before, one of the amazing things in Morocco is how you can go from one landscape to somewhere completely different the next day. Now we're going to the seaside city of Essaouira. Formerly the site of a Portuguese fortress, Essaouira combines medieval Moroccan landmarks with European architecture, making the city indicative of Morocco's diverse heritage. It is one of those coastal cities where the unique atmosphere and water activities seamlessly blend. The city lies on the Atlantic coast and is best known for its riads, traditional Moroccan courtyard inns, as we know, which offer a uniquely Moroccan way to spend the night. The city is also popular for its artisanal crafts and cabinet work. You may want to visit some local shops while in town. Walk quietly in the shade of the ramparts, the very ones that draw the contours of Astapor, the Red City of the Game of Thrones series. Climb these walls and take the Preparat walk from where you can see the Purpurese Islands, falcons, gulls, and seagulls hovering above this nature reserve. A walk can lead you to the fishing port where the sailors are active. Get to the fish market to taste the fish and seafood caught during the night. In the center of the city, the Medina invites you on a discovery wander into its winding alley. Ranked as one of the most beautiful cities in Morocco by UNESCO, the city hums to the beat of music every summer. Now let's go to the last city we'll visit on our virtual tour. Marrakech is one of Morocco's 4 former imperial capitals and one of the most popular cities. Exploring it is like traveling back in time. Jama El Fna, the central square, is a great place to start or end most tourists through the city, as its open-air markets, many cafes and restaurants, and buskers and vendors make it lively at all times of day. You'll be able to admire the architectural richness of the Medina upon visiting one of the many riads, small oriental palaces overlooking the beautiful patio. You can also relax and recharge at the Minara, a vast garden with an emblematic basin. Marrakech showers its visitors by its splendor and its diversity. You just have to leave the ramparts to be immersed in modern Morocco. The Medina, or Old Walled City, is one of the densest in the country, with winding alleys and lively markets selling traditional textiles, pottery, and jewelry. Between tradition and modern, Marrakech is the promise of unequaled sensations. Strolling the Jama El Fna square and the souks with their shimmering colors and oriental smells, this red city offers you a complete change of scenery. No talk about Morocco would be complete without talking about the food. Morocco's culinary heritage embraces the deep-rooted traditions and cultural variety of the country. Couscous, tagine, pastella, morcilla, and rafissa are some of the embellic dishes of the country that you can't resist. Subtly composed of a wide variety of striking flavors and scents, Moroccan cuisine draws its originality from a combination between Berber, Arab, Andalusian, and Jewish culinary traditions. Probably the most popular dish you will come across will be the tagine. The name of this dish refers to the ceramic cone-shaped pot that the dish is cooked in. Chicken tagine is the most popular and has pieces of chicken braised alongside onions, garlic, lemon, olives, and various Moroccan spices in the pot, and typically served atop couscous. As for weather and the best time to visit, like many destinations, spring and fall are going to be your best bet. Summer is quite hot and Ramadan can affect your vacation. Winter can be very much cooler and even have snowfall in some of the higher elevations. And just to let you know that if you would like your own trip to Morocco, the Women's Travel Club does have a tour coming up to Morocco next spring. So we're going from April 17th to the 27th. We do still have some availability on this tour, but it's filling. Morocco is always very popular. The rates are also really good for this tour. So the double occupancy rate is going to be $37.49 Canadian, which is about 3,000 US right now with the exchange rate, or your own room with single occupancy. So it's $43.89 Canadian, which is about 3,500 US right now. If you want the single occupancy rate and you're coming as a solo traveler by yourself, you can ask to be matched with a roommate, and we will do that for you. And so just to give you a little overview of what this tour includes, I'll go through the inclusions, but also Irene will put a link to the tour in the chat. So if you want to go to the tour and see the actual itinerary day by day of the tour, it's in there and all the details. So the tour is going to include 10 nights superior first class accommodation, transportation by private luxury air-conditioned coach, breakfast daily, 1 lunch, 10 dinners, tour of Casablanca. We visit Volupulus, the Roman ruins. There is a camel trek for a safari in the Sahara, and we stay in a luxury tented camp in the Sahara. So it's a beautiful tented camp. That picture that we saw, that's from this camp. We visit and tour an Argan Oil Women's Cooperative. There's a 4x4 Sahara adventure. We do a chef-led cooking class, which no doubt will be a Tenji. We do a belly dancing class. Isn't that fun? Airport arrival and departure transfers. Local taxes on accommodation sightseeing are included. Your English speaking guide is included. There's a farewell palace dinner. All your gratuities. So most of the Women's Travel Club tours will include all your gratuities. So you don't have to, you know, every time you get a step-on guide or worry about your guide at the end, that's all taken care of. You don't have to worry about bringing all that extra money just for tipping. It's already there and included. So in the accommodations here, we stay in some great hotels, but we do stay, I think, in a couple riads. We stay in a desert auberge, and we stay in the tented camp. So there's a great variety of different accommodations throughout the tour to really give you, you know, the feel for everything Morocco.
So Marion, if I can interrupt, Debbie's joined us.
Hi,
I was in
Debbie.
the background giving her a link. It shows my name, but she's muted as well.
Okay.
I know Debbie's been there, so I'm really curious how easy it is to get on that camel.
I've been there too. It's
Okay.
yeah. They lie down.
Oh, good.
So the guy, they all start lying down. So when you walk up to them, they're all out there, and you can pet them, take pictures of them and stuff, and they're all lying down. Oh. And so then you just basically step on and sit, and it's like almost like a chair on them. Like it's more than a saddle. And it's got a blanket on it and stuff. So it's fairly comfortable, and you sit down, and then the handler has them stand up. So hold on, because the standing up is a little rocky with it's like suede. But once they get up, you're good. And then you're very high. So if you're
I thought that the camels traditionally were spitters and not too friendly.
I think it depends on the camel. But
okay.
They can if they're not a happy camel, I suppose. Some of them will have almost like a basket around their mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the spitters.
Oh, okay, thank you for that. I wanted to know. Okay, so, and we don't have any questions at this point. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Diana's raised her hand, so I'm just going to open up her microphone.
Thank you.
Hi, Diana. I have opened your microphone.
Hi. I'm just curious, how are they doing with the vaccine over there? Are they getting the vaccine to that part of the world, or are they having a hard time?
They are. So we do have a fair number of Africa tours going. So I'm watching a lot of Africa with the vaccine rollout. It's definitely slower than it is here in Canada and the US. But they are getting vaccinated. A lot of the areas are not as developed. So we looked at some of the big cities that are fairly developed, but a lot of the population in say Morocco and other places in Africa live outside of the big communities in small little areas. So, you know, getting the vaccine out to them isn't as easy as when it's a vaccine clinic within a big city. So it might take a little bit longer. But it's good because the big cities, which are going to be the place where the COVID virus is going to, you know, the population density plays a big part in the spread. So those big cities are getting vaccinated first. It's going to take longer for the rural areas to get it, but again, they're not the real hubs
Okay.
of the COVID
So you-
virus either.
So you're going to
We-
monitor how prevalent the virus is by the time the trip starts?
Of course we do. And we do that, but we also do require that all our travelers be vaccinated. So as our group will,
Okay.
like, we're traveling in such a small group, so we require that everybody in our group be vaccinated, and that gives a protection too. You know that everybody you're traveling with and seeing on a daily basis is vaccinated.
And do they have to wear masks?
It's going to depend on the tour and the country we're in. With everybody being vaccinated, when we're all together, we follow like the CDC and the rules that are coming out for Canada now, that if you're with a small group and everybody is vaccinated, you do not need to wear your mask. So
Okay.
say on the bus with everybody vaccinated, you do not need to wear your mask.
And you have proof of vaccination, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'm really concerned about that. That's the only
Yes.
thing that's holding me back from signing up.
Oh, no problem. I understand. But yes, everybody is required to provide
Okay.
proof. There's a list of what we take. So it's basically, if you're in Canada, it's gonna be your Ministry of Health for your province paper. If you're in the States, it's your CDC card. So it just
Yeah.
depends where you are.
And if
Very
I could just, Marianne, you could expand on that for Diana. We're finding more and more, and even our supplier that we are working with on this particular tour, there's expectations and protocols certainly in place. And
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So, there's going to be certain protocols from our supplier in destination. So things like their staff all have to be vaccinated. The bus is going to be cleaned
Oh.
regularly. Things like that are all
Oh,
being
great,
taken
great.
care of from that end too.
Looks like an awesome trip. I really, really been wanting to go for so long.
Oh, you know what? It's always really popular for us and everybody loves it. It's really, really good
Thank you.
overview of Morocco. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
it's a great.
Thank you for answering my questions.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for coming on and talking.
okay.
Okay. Anybody else? Any other questions?
If I could clarify a point, Marianne, it looks like we're actually down to one single spot left, but we do have a couple of shared spots still.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, because I know I had an inquiry the other day actually from somebody who was looking to bring her daughter, and I didn't quite clarify the age of her daughter. What are guidelines with respect to taking family members?
Typically, so it has to be female. So the whole women's part.
Daughter,
But
yeah.
we've had as young as 14 on tours. That's not super common. We do get a lot of mother-daughters. Usually the daughters are in their 20s or maybe early 30s, but we have had as young as 14, and we will take younger people to come on the tour, not children. So not under 14 we wouldn't do.
Well, I just it was Alicia actually. She just clarified for me because she's watching today. Her daughter's actually 42 years old.
Oh, okay. Well, I think she's old enough to come on the tour.
Thank you. So Alicia, to that point, there are only a few shared spots left. So I just say that if you're thinking about it. Thank you. Okay. So
Perfect.
anybody else?
And you did mention before, somebody had a question about Rick's Cafe, which is in
Yeah.
Casablanca.
I think
So,
it
and
is.
that is made famous by the movie. It's still there. There is a Rick's Cafe anyway. And it's, basically a restaurant that's kind of taking its cue from the movie and using that to make it a touristy kind of restaurant. If you want to go to the restaurant, say for lunch, we don't go as part of the tour. We don't actually spend a lot of time in Casablanca. It's basically very much a big city now. The Hassantu Mosque is probably the main attraction there, which we do go see. But if you really want to see Rick's Cafe, either on the first day you arrive, if you arrive in time, you could go, it's about a 20-minute cab ride from our hotel, and you could go there for lunch. Or if you're doing a pre-night, a lot of people do pre-nights for tours just to make sure they're there and to get settled and such before the actual tour starts. So if you are taking advantage of that and doing a pre-night, then you could even go there for dinner, say the day before, or for lunch the next day. And it's, yeah, just about a 20-minute cab ride to get there.
Okay, thanks for that. Sorry, I'm just quickly reading. Yeah, I just need to clarify, somebody was asking about the spots that we have available. So I'm told by the tour department that we have one single left, although, yes, and then in terms of shared spots, we have 3 or 4, it looks like. Yeah, it's been going quite well. Thank you. I hope that answers your question.
Excellent. Well, if there's no more questions, I will close up. Thank everybody for being here. Thank you for taking time to join us this afternoon, and hope you enjoyed the travel talk. Hope you learned a little bit about Morocco, which is really, truly a fascinating destination. I was so amazed by the diversity that, you know, every place you went looks so different from the place you were the day before, and all in one tour. So really, if you get a chance to visit Morocco, I would highly recommend it. I want to thank Irene for being here and assisting and kind of manning the chat and watching everything. Thank you, Debbie, for joining us. And I know you're muted, but thank you. And thank you for putting together such a great tour for us.
Before you hang up or let go, one thing that's probably worth sharing, because again, different culture, different traditions and customs. That's why we put together tour notes that we give to everybody on the tour. Can you just explain that so they know we don't leave them hanging?
Oh, so yeah, so there's all kinds of, once you join a tour, we have different ways to kind of keep you connected and keep you informed. So once you join a tour, first you get invited to a private network. So we have a private network that's much like Facebook groups would be, kind of thing, but it's more private. It's only for our members. And so you get invited into that for your tour. It's only the other people on the tour, and like your tour host will be in there, and some of the staff and admin are in there. So you can chat with people on your tour and get to know other people on your tour, which is great. And we put little messages in there as things come up that you might need to know along the way. As we get closer to your departure date, so usually around final payment date, you'll get something called tour notes, and tour notes just gives you an overview of kind of everything you need to know. So it gives you things like a suggested packing list. It gives you any requirements that you might need to know of for the tour. It gives you like what kind of electricity they have, so you know what kind of plug to bring. If you need, what else did it? Oh, things like the hotel list with a contact, so you can leave it at home for somebody when you go, like every night, what hotel you'll be in, and the phone number for the hotel in case anybody needs to get hold of you and can't get you by the cell phone, and things like that. So those tour notes again come out around final payment date, and just because then we know who's on the tour for sure and what's happening. And also in case anything changes. When the COVID kind of situation that's happening, tour notes now are also including anything that you need to know about testing getting into the country, or testing leaving the country, or any testing that has to happen in the country. So, and then we, again, that's another reason we leave it until final payment date a little closer, because those requirements are so fluid and changing all the time. So try and give you as current as possible. And then I don't know what else you got. There's other things. We do keep in contact and send you all kinds of things along the way. Probably bother you more than you want.
So we keep communication open so that there's no, we don't leave you without the answers to your questions along the way.
Yes.
Yep. Good.
And Irene's always available, so you can call her anytime, day or night.
And then I'll check with them.
So
That's
thank
great.
you,
Thank you.
everybody. We do our travel talks every week on Wednesdays at 3 o'clock. So if you would like to join us next week, we are going to talk about the Canadian Arctic, and we're going to talk about beluga whales and polar bears and how you can go see them in the Canadian Arctic. And we'll have a special guest for that who knows a little bit more about it than I do. So that's always nice. If you want to join, you will probably get an email because you'll be on our email list with a link to join, or you can visit our website and go to just look in the menu for Travel Talk. And if you click on Travel Talk, you can see the list of upcoming travel talks and join any of the travel talks that you would like. If you ever want to join a travel talk, but know that you can't be there for it, and so you can still join and then get a copy of it emailed to you with a link to the video because we record them all.
That's good. Thank you. Good stuff.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Everybody
Bye,
have a great
everyone.
week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.